The KMI panel have delivered a verdict on the Hibs handball against St Mirren. We'll come back to Fog Football, or should I say the St Mirren handball against Hibs. So let's see what they've had to say here, because guess what? There's a real lack of news, but this was a pretty horrific decision, so let's dive into it. So Hibs were denied a penalty against St Mirren as KMI panel deliver handball verdict. An on-field review should have recommended to Matthew McDermott after claims for handball against Jaden Richardson. Hibs were denied a stoppage time penalty in the 1-1 draw with St Mirren. According to the KMI panel, the five-man board, made up of three independent members, an SFA rep and a club rep, were unanimous in their call that VAR should have been intervened to sword Davy Gray's side a spot kick. With the Hibbies pushing for a leveller, the ball appeared to strike Buddy's defender Jaden Richardson as the host appealed for a handball. Whistler Matthew McDermott blew, but for full time rather than a spot kick, with VAR Lee Ryan advising them not to take a second look on the pitch side monitor. However, after another look, the panel has determined that McDermott should have been recommended to take the on-field review and then should have rewarded the penalty. Right, this it's just incompetence at the highest level, right? Now, it's not even an excuse about the full-time whistle, because as we've seen plenty of times before, folks, right? The full-time whistle can go, but they go back to decisions. The most notable one for me was a couple of years ago between Brighton and Man United, and I say a couple of years ago, I actually believe it was during COVID, where the whistle went to each, I believe it was, and then Man United were awarded a penalty, and they scored in like 90 plus 12. Bruno Fernandes, bang good night, won them the game. I remember because like people were getting notification that the game had ended, and then they were getting notifications after it like, oh, what do you mean United made it 3-2 like 5 minutes after the whistle went? That's crazy. But this is what the panel report read, and I quote: the panel unanimously agreed that the on-field decision was incorrect. The panel highlighted VAR was incorrect not to intervene to recommend an OFR, and a penalty should have been awarded for the handball. End of quote. So, incorrect decisions here. I mean, it's just not really good enough, right? Could there be the argument of it was the end of the game and the VAR guy just wanted to go home and, you know, tuck into whatever dinner he was going to eat? I don't know, but that's not a good enough excuse, folks. It's like VAR can be used after the full-time whistle, which is the correct decision, because if you were introducing, right, VAR, and there was this rule where once the full-time whistle goes, it doesn't matter what decision happened in like the previous minute, the 90 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever, that's final. How corrupt would that be? So you've actually got the opportunity here after the full-time whistle to properly refute and bring them back out into the pitch. Well, I say bring them back out into the pitch. The fans stayed in the stands, and I believe the players did stay on the pitch. But yeah, just a horrific decision here that should have been given, and I don't really understand why it's not been given. Hibs, the bigger of the two clubs, getting shafted. St Mirren, do they pay the referees off? Who knows? Obviously, I'm joking here. But yeah, there's not even like there's an old firm club involved here, and you know, brown envelopes here or there, which some people would joke about. There's hee-haw to joke about. It's just a shite decision that further undermines, highlights, right, and underlines how shite and incompetent they are. The referees in this country, man, they're bogging, but it's up and down. It's up and down the board. You know, I think that offside rule that Wenger wants in is going to come in where, as long as the attacker has a part of his body in line with the defender, then that'll count as onside. I don't like that rule, folks. I really don't like that rule. I think that rule is fucking ludicrous. Why that's going to get brought in. I mean, I like Arsene Wenger, great manager in his day, but to me that's another step about killing football. The best thing to do is just fucking scrap VAR, because now we're going to have VAR where a guy's clearly offside, but because his Achilles heel is playing him on, well, I say he's off, but it's playing him on now based off these new rules that are going to be implemented soon according to Wenger and co. So yeah, leave your thoughts down below. I think football is taking a very dark turn, but maybe someone can steer it into steadier waters. We'll have to wait and see.